Good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining today's webinar, How has VIA University College inspired their teachers to adopt a new LMS? It is my pleasure to present our guest speaker today, Mats Villesen, Pedagogical IT Consultant at VIA. Mats will share his experience with the implementation of itslearning in VIA and how they motivate and inspire teachers. But before I hand over the microphone, I'm just going to share the agenda for today. So we're going to listen a little bit about Mats Villesen and VIA University College. Then we're going to learn how VIA University College has inspired the teachers to adopt itslearning. Finally, we have a Q&A session, and we will share some information adding up to this session. Just to remind you, all attendees are set on mute, but if you have any questions, there's a button in the right hand of the screen with a question mark. Just write any questions anytime, and we will address them during the Q&A. So let's begin. Good morning, Mats.
Good morning. Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Mads, and I'm actually a bachelor in computer science many years ago. But after I became the bachelor in computer science, I decided I want to be a teacher instead. So I took an education for teaching and was teaching science and math for about 6 years. But for the last 17 years, I've been working in the field between technology and learning to make technology make better learning. And I've done that 5 years in the Danish Ministry of Education, and the last 12 years I've been here at VIA University College, and my primary responsibility is how to make teaching better using technology in class. And I'm responsible for our LMS system, which is one of our most key features for using technology in the class. VIA University College is one of 6 university colleges in Denmark. We have a lot of program and courses and research, and we focus on professional practice. And that could be in programs like healthcare, teaching, social education, and even technology, business, and design. We have 42 different programs with bachelor degrees. We have 18,500 students. We have 2,100 faculty and staff, and of whom about 1,200 are teachers. And we are located in 17 addresses distributed through central Jutland. And for those who are not very familiar with Denmark, I can say it's about 2 hours ride in a car from for here in Nørre and to Aarhus, where our main campus are. So we are using some time on traveling around in car for our different locations, and of course we are using technology to minimize that as well. That's a little about us. It's a very special day today. Denmark is closed down totally, and all education institutions are asked to stay home. So we are in the next 14 days having a very live experience of how to use technology and making online education, because we have no students and no teachers in our campuses for the next 14 days due to the coronavirus. So that's the real thing. In 2017, we decided that our old LMS system, it was a homemade system based on SharePoint, was about to retire, and we made a tender with the other UC, the university colleges in Denmark, and in 2017 we decided that we were going to use itslearning. We was a bit in a hurry, so already in Q1 at 2018 we had a pilot with 50 teachers, 400 students at 8 programs and 16 courses. And after the pilot was finished in March 2018, we ran very fast to make a full implementation for the semester in September 2018. And that means that all teachers, all students, all programs and all courses has to be moved from our old system to itslearning in about 3 months. Just to show that we kind of succeeded this, I can show this is a number of user logins in the autumn of 2018. And as you can see here in September, the first week where we have students, we have more than 220,000 logins for the first week. And to compare this with September the year after, it's only 250,000 logins at the first week. A bit more, but still not a lot more. And that means that already from day one, we have succeeded to make all the students and teachers adopting the new system and starting to use it. And of course, how did we do that? one of the things was, of course, that we turned down our old system. So if you had to use a system where you could share documents and do your offline teaching and so on, you had to use the new system. But otherwise, we did a lot of things, and that's what I'm going to tell you about now. We made a project steering group for the implementation project with a project leader and with 3 tracks. We had a track for technology. I won't come into that much today, but the technology track was how to make all the integrations to make our schedule work into itslearning, to automatically create courses and students and all this kind of things. Connecting our video platform to itslearning and all the technical issues. Then we have a track called LMS and learning environment, and this is where we did the didactic and pedagogical the thoughts about how to use itslearning to adopt the way we teach in Denmark and at VIA. This track 1, the technology track, was populated most by technical people from the IT department, where this track was more teachers and even students was able to design how would we like to use itslearning in VIA. And then at least we have a organization involvement track, how to roll out itslearning through the organization, how to make sure that all teachers and staff and students have the necessary skills to use itslearning. More than 80 people was involved with the project of enrolling itslearning into VIA, and that was done in a year from September 2017 to August 2018, where we had the full implementation. The steering group decided to have 4 principles for the implementation, and the principle was made to have some aims. What are we going, why are we changing the system, and when we are making a decision, are we going to do this or are we going to do that, then we have these principles to focus and to help us make the right decisions. And the principle number 1 is that the itslearning platform is a framework for the project, to have the aim at to look at the system as it is, do not talk about what we cannot do, but talk about what we can do. And say there's something we cannot do in itslearning, but we want all teaching to start and end in itslearning. And by that we mean you can integrate different things into itslearning, but if you are using a Padlet or if you're using a Skype meeting for an online meeting, you can do that, but you have to put the links inside itslearning so the students and the teachers have everything at the same starting place. Then you could go out and then you go back into itslearning and do the assessments and the recap of the discussion and so on afterwards. So it doesn't, the principle number 1 is it's the framework for the project, but it's not necessarily the only thing for teaching, but everything starts and ends in itslearning. Principle number 2 is the student is at the center, and by that we mean that if you can do a thing in different ways, you have to do it the way what would most benefit for the students. Of course, the teachers and others have to be able to do what's to make it work, but sometimes it's all right. It's more difficult for the teachers if it's better for the students. So we have this principle to make sure that the LMS system is a system to help the students, and of course we have to make it as easy to use for the students as possible. Principle number 3 is that we have to think about the education of tomorrow. When we make decisions, we don't make sure that we did not take any decision that would make it more difficult in the future to adopt new things. And of course that is online teaching and so on. Principle number 1 and 2 was the principle we used the most, but number 3 was also in considering a few times. And principle number 4, we now have the option, because we are 6 university colleges in Denmark and 5 of us have now decided to use itslearning. And this is an opportunity to share resources from one teacher in one UC to another. But not only in itslearning, we used itslearning platform to make a step into do more collaboration with the other UCs. So instead of seeing each other as competitors, we started to work together. And in the implementation, we have a lot of cooperation about making guidelines and so on together, and save a lot of time by doing that. One example could be that we in Denmark have something called the study activity model, which is a way to organize different types of teaching into 4 categories. And we all have been using that for 10 years on all the UCs, and now we could talk about how do we do that into itslearning and do some, I don't want to tell about the study activity model, it's just an example of a place where we did some cooperation between the UCs and got benefit of each other and saved a lot of time. When we decided to have a new LMS system, we asked the students, what do you expect from a new system? What are the main features that you want the system to have? And they all said overview and structure, integration of schedule, mobile access and app, relevant notifications, and uniform use. And the last one, uniform use, was actually one of the most important for the students. The system we had before, you can do the same thing in a lot of different ways. And when you can do the same thing in different ways, you can be sure that the teacher will use the things in different ways. So the students were very keen of having the system where the teachers were told, if you're going to give a message about what's going to do tomorrow, this is the platform, this is the way to do it. So the uniform use is actually not about the system, but more how do we use the system. Of course, we also asked the teachers about their wishes, and they want a system where it was easy to create assignments, to create tests, and it should be easy to reuse. So when you made something once, it should be easy to use it again. And then they actually also said they would like it to be easy to share with your colleagues. So if you know one who has made a great test or a great assignment or a great lesson plan, it should be easy for you to share it with your colleagues. And then we had some teachers, not all of them, said that learning analytics, be able to track how the students' progress are, would be a nice thing as well. As I told you before, we only had about half a year to make this happen. So we decided, instead of making every teacher know everything of itslearning, what was the minimum expectation that all teachers have to do, be able to do in order to perform in itslearning. And it was due to the expectations and the wishes from the students and the principals, we decided that the planner tool with links to resources was one of the key features that would give the uniform use, would give the structure and so on. The discussion forum was necessary to make it possible to the students and teachers to communicate beside classes, and the assignment tool. And if everyone was able to do these 3 things, they could start practice teaching in itslearning. Of course, we told there are a lot of more things, but if you're keen of these features, you'll be able to teach. Due to time and economical reasons, we were only allowed to use 2 hours for each teacher for giving new competences in itslearning. And we decided to make a 30-minute preparation. We did this teaching as flipped learning, so all the teachers was told before you get to the actual workshop, you need to have seen these 4 videos with about 30 minutes, how to get started in learning, the planner tool, the assignment tool, and the discussion tool. And after that, all teachers was in campus at live workshops at 19 minutes. We have 72 of those workshops to get through all the teachers, because we said there would be maximum 20 teachers on a workshop, and the teachers have to come from the same program to make sure that the program are using itslearning in the same uniform use. There might be differences between how you use itslearning at the nurses' education instead of the pedagogical education, but for each program you have to use it the same way, and that's why it was important that the teachers in the workshop was from the same program. We had 2 instructors at the workshops, and we were really telling them, in the old system you're used to do this, now you have to do that. And it's not a big difference, but now it's a new system, and try to make it as easy for them to adopt from the old to the new. And we had a lot of time for hands-on, and with 2 instructors there were people who could walk around in the room and help the teachers creating their first lesson plans in itslearning. Besides that, we had a lot of help resources, video and PDF instructions, and we made a teacher-to-teacher discussion forum where they were able to discuss how to use itslearning, and they actually did that a lot. We showed them this diagram to tell them what is the planner tool actually about. And the planner tool in the course is where you can make topics for each subject in your class. And in each topic you have to create a plan for each lesson with a date, a description, and the resources. And then the system automatically links the calendar, the lesson plans from our schedule into the planner, so when the students watch in the calendar, they have easy access to what is going on, what's going to happen in the next lesson. And beside of that, the students are able to see all the resources for all the plans in one topic under the resource tab in the course in each topic. So they have all the materials, all the activities in one combined view here, and they have the view for each lesson here. And this made it easy for the teachers to understand, I'm doing it here, and then the other things happen automatically. This benefit because for the students that it provides the structure, the linking from the schedule to the lesson plan, and the linking the lesson plan direct to the resources. And it was easy to reuse for the teachers because when you made the plan once, if you're teaching the same subject again, you can easily copy your plans and all the connected resources to a new course, and that will save time. And of course we told them it will save time in the long term because now you have to do something extra, and we were very aware of telling the teachers, we know that for this semester you will have to use more time preparing your course. But look here, from the next semester, you will be able to save time. So it's an investment of time, not a spend of time. I'll just use 4 minutes to show live how the planner tool is looking the way we are doing it in VIA. So I just try now to go to a live presentation here in our itslearning. This is an English course, and it's a teacher, it's a student's view here, and the student is in the plan, and he can see the different topics that are supposed to be taught in this class, and he can open here and see that Monday on the 13th of March from 8 to 10 we are going to do this. This is the teacher, this is the organization, and these are the resources that are linked to this exact lesson. So here they can have the overview of their whole course and see what's going to happen through all semester. But because of the schedule linked to the date here, when they go into the calendar, they have this view of the calendar where they can see all the resources, all the what do you call them, all the lessons from the schedule in this overview. And because of the linked plans, they can just click on this, and then it opens the planner tool and shows what is the purpose and what are the resources for this exact teaching. The last way the students can see what's going to happen in the teaching is on the front page, on the overview page of the course. The next lesson automatically is shown here, and there's a start button, and the student can just click on that, and then they can walk through the different columns of the plan, and they can actually, when you're going to the resources, it just open the resources in here. This is a PDF which will load. Yes, and then just have the PDF here and can read it right on the screen. If they want not to do the resources in the order the teacher put them in, they can just click here, and then they can jump to all the resources added to this exact lesson. And of course, even video, we have integrated our Kaltura video solution into itslearning, so it's easy for the teachers to embed video in the plans as well if you want to use that. So this is the way the students actually enters the things that are going on for each lesson. Of course, they still have the announcements and so on, but the planning tool for the students is the way where they're going to see what is going to happen for each class. And the link to the resources is very nice for them, because they don't have to look in different folders and where is this link. And like this is a link to a Padlet, and itslearning automatically embed, if you make a link to a Padlet, the Padlet will automatically be embedded into the itslearning platform. So even though this is a resource outside itslearning, it's embedded into itslearning. So we are using itslearning as the hub for all these different resources. Yeah. We now succeeded to make all our teachers be familiar with the assignment tool, the planner tool, and the discussion tool. Not everyone are using it all of the time, but all are familiar with these things. So the next step, of course, will be how to introduce for new functions in itslearning. And for that, we make workshops, webinars, and video guides to help teachers getting further. And we made a catalog with all our, we have this, actually made it as a printed catalog for all the leaders of the programs, so they can see what do we suggest that your teachers are going to do next to get more experience using itslearning. And we are talking lots about learning paths, video and podcast, digital communication, cooperation, portfolio, feedback, and evaluation. These are the main things that we want them to do next. And I know there will be another webinar here at itslearning where we are telling more about our coming workshops and webinars for getting our staff even more skilled in using itslearning. Yeah. That was about 20 minutes that I was supposed to talk about the way we did, and if there are any questions, I hope that they will come to me now.
Sure. Well, thank you much for your presentation, and thanks again to everyone who's joining us today. We're just moving on with the first question is, what have been the most effective change management strategies to support your project with itslearning and VIA?
Whoa, that's a what I think that telling every teacher that you do not need to know the entire platform to use it. Some teachers are very, oh, what does this, if I click on this button, what happens then? And if I do this, what happens then? Just tell them, if you're familiar with these things, then you'll be able to teach. So to make the teachers comfortable with using itslearning, even though that there are functions that they do not know what are doing. Then they, of course, we have made a sandbox for each teacher where they can practice and where they can try different things, and a lot of them are doing that, and some of them are not. And so the thinking of the teachers to make, okay, I don't need to be knowing everything about the system. Just when I use the planner, the assignment, and the discussion, then everything will be fine. And later on, I can try to use the peer review. Then I can try to use more videos and making the teaching even better. But to make the barrier of getting into itslearning as low as possible. I don't know if that was a answer to the question, but
yeah, I think it's good. We have another question. How have the staff adapted to using itslearning? And how had you any resistance, and have you got anything around this?
Yeah, there will always be some people who are afraid of changes. And of course, they said, before we changed the system, the old system was the worst system in the world. And now we changed the system, and there was a few teachers that, oh, it was much better before. And I think we always have this. But I think it was very few teachers that didn't see the benefits of using itslearning. And because of, we are telling them you don't have to be an expert in everything. And because that we have the teachers and the students involved in the whole process about which parts of itslearning do we think are most important to use and how are we going to use them. This made the teacher, okay, it's not some IT department telling us what to do. It's actually our own colleagues telling us what to do. So that makes the barrier for them to adopt to it easier. And I think all teachers at the college will know how to use itslearning and are using itslearning on a daily practice. Yeah.
All right. There's another question. Can you reuse the plans?
Can I one more time, please?
Can you reuse the plans?
Yeah. If you have made the plans as a teacher, you can just mark the plans you want to reuse, and then you can say copy, and then you can copy them to the new course. So if you have the same semester a lot of times and have the same course, then you can just copy the plans, and all the resources linked to the plans will automatically be copied to the new course as well. So you just have to put in the new times for and to put the new lesson times, so that so it's very easy for the teachers to reuse the plans.
All right. We have another question. Does a student have a course for each subject, or are all their subjects?
Yeah, and that's where we are different in different programs. In some of our programs we have one course for all subjects. So they have a course for each semester, and in that semester you have a topic under the plans for each subject in that semester, and that can be and other programs like the teacher education, there you have a course for each class. So if you have a math course and you have a Danish course and you have a science course, so there you have a different course for each, and that's different from program to program. So I can't give one answer to that, and both works for the students.
All right, thank you. Just one last question before we move on. Is it easier for teachers to collaborate now than before?
One of the things we made it was it's easier because we have granted access. All teachers are able to grant access to all courses in their own program. So if you are a teacher at the educational program in VIA, then you can search for all the courses, so you can get inspired by all the other teachers. And if there's something in there you like, then you can talk to the teacher and you can just mark the things you like and say, let's copy that into my course. We also have some courses for cooperation between teachers, so all math teachers at the education, for the teacher education, they have a course where they put in all their plans and resources, and then they have this as a hub and copy the plans from that course into their own courses. So yes, it's very easier for cooperation between teachers with the learning. Yeah, but you have to make the teachers understand that it's okay for other teachers to go into your course, and that of course will be a barrier for some, but that's a mindset, not a system thing.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you, Mats, and thank you all for your questions. If we couldn't address them all for time matters, we will still give an answer, or try to give an answer to your email later today. So I'm going to show some links with more information here. So it's about itslearning, our next webinars, and our product roadmap. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter for more information. And of course, we will send the recording and these links to our registrants today. Now, I'm also going to present what's later today. We understand the coronavirus outbreak has triggered a wave of school closures around the world. And for this reason, Rachel Reggio will show us how to set up an effective e-learning protocol for your institution. So join us in this webinar to learn some tips on how to ensure the best results with your institution's plan. I will share the link as soon as possible, but you can also find it in our global site, itslearning.com/global. And finally, we're also hosting another webinar in April with VIA University College. In this one, Rike Godfredsen, Pedagogical IT Consultant at VIA, will share her insights on how VIA has developed a successful program of webinars and workshops for the second wave exploration after the initial implementation of itslearning. It's going to be a great session. I'm very looking forward to it. So thank you, Mats, again, and thank you all for your attention, and have a great day.
Thank you.